So nobody covers the Browns better than Mary Kay Cabot, the Browns beat writer for the Cleveland Plain Dealer. It's always something there in Cleveland, and we were just talking about those Baker Mayfield commercials. How are those playing in Cleveland, Mary Kay?
Well, actually, I think they're getting great reviews, but it would have been a lot better if he had won this year. I think the bloom is off the rose a little bit with Baker right now, and he needs to get the fans back on his side.
The Browns missed the playoffs this year because of what?
Coaching. I 100% think that it was coaching. They picked the wrong head coach, and he just was not able to get anything out of this offense, and they really underachieved, and it just should not have been. You can't have Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, Baker Mayfield, and not be in the playoffs right now.
When did you start to sense this, Mary Kay?
Very early on. I was very concerned very, very early on in the process that this was not going to go well. And unfortunately, that was proven correct. But I had grave concerns from the day they hired him, really.
Yeah, because I watched it, and I've been around these teams, and sometimes you bring in personalities. And when you have a young coach and a young quarterback and you have big personalities, it can be a recipe for disaster. Like you're not – it's not like Julio Jones is your wide receiver and he doesn't say anything. He just shows up and acts like a Hall of Fame wide receiver. I just wonder what this team is going to look like next year, and we'll get to that in a moment. But is this an attractive job right now?
I think it is a very attractive job right now, and I can tell you that the candidates – that they are interviewing are so excited about this job. At least most of them are really ready to jump at this chance if they get the opportunity. And why is that? Well, for many reasons, including the fact that this is still a very talented roster. And again, it just needed a firm hand, some leadership, some great coaching, and all of these guys, I'm sure, believe that they can be that guy.
All right. Who's the leading candidate right now?
You know, I don't know who the leader in the clubhouse is right now. They're playing it close to the vest. I would have to think that Kevin Stefanski, because he was Paul DePodesta's man last year, that he's got to be a finalist in this thing. I don't know if he's the favorite because I think there's a lot of sentiment in the building for Josh McDaniels and everything that he brings to the table, including the fact that, you know, he is from here. This is his dream to coach the Cleveland Browns. And he's interviewed with this team 2 other times. He's got head coaching experience. So I would think that those 2 guys probably will be amongst the finalists. I don't know who will end up with it, but I don't know. There's just something about the fact that Kevin Stefanski, that he blew away everyone in the building last year and then came back and strengthened his resume here. I just think that's something to keep an eye on.
Will Odell Beckham Jr. be with the team next year?
Great question. For right now, I'm going to say yes, but I think it's something that will be discussed in the offseason, not just amongst themselves, but with Odell, with his agent. I think everyone needs to put their heads together and make sure that this is an equitable situation for everyone. And
I preface this by saying I don't know Odell Beckham Jr. I know he's extremely talented. I would not want that situation if I'm a head coach. As much of a luxury as he is, I still think there are – I got a young quarterback who I thought went out of his way to try to please people, trying to please those wide receivers, and that's not what you want in that position. And I just it makes me nervous going into it would make me nervous because Baker Mayfield was really good, and then he turned out to be really bad. And a new coach in there, new offensive-minded person in there, but I still have to – I got to acquiesce to those wide receivers, and I just don't know – if you can do that in the team concept, Mary Kay?
I think it can be done, once again, with the right coach. This was not the right staff to try to manage or handle that situation. They just were not up to the task. But, you know, if you get someone in there that knows how to handle an Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, Baker Mayfield, and get those guys all pulling in the same direction, especially on game day, I think it can work. But I do think that they should probably take a hard look at it.
Yeah, I'm suspicious with that. Like the Giants got rid of Odell Beckham because they were going to have a quarterback in a similar situation to Baker Mayfield. And Daniel Jones was probably going to go out of his way to make sure that Odell got his touches. you guys had as much offensive skill position players as anybody in the league. If you start to think of it, you got 2 really good running backs. You got 2 really good wide receivers. And you had a good tight end in Joku, and then you got Baker coming off that rookie season. And I know that's why everybody fell in love with him, but man, I wonder about the wide receivers there. I don't know. I do.
Well, you know what? I mean, it's a valid concern. Also because they both make a ton of money, and they're sort of a package deal.
Yeah.
They're so excited to be together, Jarvis and Odell. So I think you can almost look at it globally and think, okay, are we going to start over with young receivers, or are we going to try to move forward with these 2 guys and see if we can make it work with a really good coach?
I'm sure we'll be in touch, Mary Kay. Always interesting there in Cleveland, and maybe we'll get to talk about something good for a change one of these days.
I'm sure we will.
Thank you, Mary Kay. That's Mary Kay Cabot, Cleveland Plain Dealer at cleveland.com.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.